So, Dynamis is energy from emotions. Maybe I can make a theory video on how we've been using Dynamis all along through prayer. Well, never mind then. Hiya, Mia Harpy here. And it's hard to make a theory video when by the very end of the story, your hunch turns out to be correct. So, yay? But I still want to go ahead and talk about it and how this affects the game and story as a whole. So we now know that it's because of Dynamis that characters can break limits and somehow get prayers to actually work. Which is funny now to think about because the whole time before Endwalker, we just accepted that it just works. Like perhaps we assumed Aether had something to do with it, though pretty sure we just accepted it. At least limit breaking because it's a Final Fantasy game. And to be completely honest, when Endwalker first mentioned powered by emotions, the first thing that popped up in my head was, oh, they made this up so they could explain why the Convocation couldn't figure out why the final days was happening. But now, I can see how Dynamis had been a thing since Realm Reborn. Okay, so Dynamis gave us answers for the limit breaking in prayer, but is Dynamis really that big of a deal? Well, I think it definitely does when I think about what we know about the game itself. So, limit breaks aside, let's think about prayer for a second. Throughout, we've seen Beastri summoning primals through the use of crystals in prayer. The power of crystals is from Aether and power of prayer comes from Dynamis. The more above will strengthen the primal. From this, I can safely assume that Aether and Dynamis work pair hand to hand in general. In fact, from this alone made me realize that Dynamis may have a hand with two other things that are generally important, materia and relic weapons. Some might not know because of the chance of not doing the quest for it, or just never bother with it to begin with. But you can make materia out of your own gear pieces, and you do so by fully spirit bonding with your gear and then extracting materia from it. Now, it's easy enough to assume only Aether, because of using the gear more often will make it more attuned to your Aether. But there's also a possibility that Dynamis might have a play in it as well. It sounds silly, but it may be possible for your character to gain a sort of emotional attachment to their clothes and weapons. Kinda like how you are with your own clothes in real life. Of course, there's no definite proof of this, but I think it's funny to imagine that the best material you need for endgame just happens to come from extracting someone's favorite clothing item. Like Indiana Jones's hat. And with relic weapons, well, kinda hard not to think of Dynamis when it comes to the relic weapons in the game. I mean, the whole boss on relic weapons came down to collecting memories. And many times you had to grind dungeons, fates, enemies, you are generally bonding with your relic weapon. And after doing the relics, except for Eureka, I can assure you that it definitely brings out your emotions. Like back then with Realm Reborn's, oh god, will the anthem for the fates in this area just freaking drop already? If you don't know what I'm talking about, consider yourself lucky. So yeah, Dynamis definitely has a part in your gameplay, but what does it have to do with the story besides Endwalker? Well, easiest thing to point at is, the whole Thordan boss fight in Heavensward ran on Dynamis. Over many years of prayer, Thordan became powerful through the build-up of Dynamis. Now, before anyone just shrugs it off because this is just something everyone already knows, I'll go ahead and say why I brought this up mainly. When Heavensward was first released and upon defeating Thordan, a theory sparked in me and probably others as well. The realization that what affects Thordan can be exactly the same thing that is going on with Azem. The theory of Azem being some sort of primal. Thordan was pretty much the general evidence that was needed that shows power can be obtained from the people over time. Now, for the longest time in the story, power through prayer has always been mainly focused on primals. And because of that, I honestly didn't know how much of an effect it would have on a normal person in that it mainly only affected primals. My whole idea of Azem being a primal years back was because ever since starting out as an adventurer, you help out everyone you meet along the way. And from those people, they generally wish you well and pray for you to have a safe journey. The thought of your character started showing himself as a hero, people start believing your character could save the day, and so they start praying further for your character's success. One of the things I thought of was, during the story, there was a cutscene in A Realm Reborn where Sid remembers your character being there pre-Realm Reborn. Which is strange because I didn't play 1.0 of Final Fantasy XIV, but apparently your character was supposedly there during the Calamity. And I thought if that was the case, why did players start at level 1, besides gameplay wise? The general answer to that was everyone forgot about you and couldn't remember you were the warrior of light. So after all of that, when you think of everything that leads up to Endwalker, to think of all the people waiting back at Aetherus while Azim and the Scions went off to stop the final days, praying for their success and to safely come back, it makes you really think how much powerful Azim became, and it's thanks to everyone you helped ever since your journey began. It's very heartwarming, honestly. People may say that the primal theory is right or wrong, depending on how literal in a sense they want it to be. But it's hard to deny the fact that Dynamis had a huge part of it all. Heck, you can say Azim is pretty much Goku's walking spirit bomb in a fun way. I just wanted to share this in some way. To be fair, Dynamis being revealed as an energy source is still rather new information, and we will most likely see more uses of it in the future. I don't think Dynamis will actually be used as a main power source like Aether generally is, unless we want things like Monsters Inc. to exist in Final Fantasy XIV. Kingdom Hearts confirmed? I wish. Well, anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you do, please leave a like and comment. It's the only way I know if anyone actually enjoys these videos or not. Have a great day, and see ya!